Hi, basket case here. I have stitched almost around. I have 3 holes left, and I've put a clip on my stitch here so it doesn't loosen up. I want to trim these needles so they can go under this row and I can start row 2. I generally hold the needles parallel with the table. I have the scissors pretty much parallel with the table, and I make a nice deep cut. I'm going to turn this sideways so you can see it. And I want the longest one to be about 1.5 inches, and the shortest one, I don't want it shorter than 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to go almost parallel with those needles and do a nice deep cut. Now this will be a little easier to get it to lay flat under this row. I have been adding pine needles about every other stitch. I've got my thread pinned down here, and I'm going to go to the next hole on the left, pull this snug and make it nice and flat. I'm going to do another stitch to the left from back to front. Set this down, pull that stitch nice and snug. Now I'm going to go over the top here, and I'm going to press these needles underneath. This is the only time that I hold the row that I'm working on down, because I want to hold it over those ones that have been cut. Sometimes you'll see one sticking out. We can deal with that later. You can snap it off or trim it. I'm going in the next hole to the left. I'm going to get that stitch nice and snug. I'm going over the top again. I'm going in that last empty stitch on the left. And now I'm going to wrap this around so you can see that it's going to hold those down. And I'm going to go to row 2. This is the start of row 2. This is that circle where we started. And now I'm going to go through the stitch. I don't want to go back into the hole. That would just be remaking the first row again. This is a spiral stitch. You can see they're beginning to lean to the left. And to keep it spiral, I go from back to front. I go in on the left side of the stitch, and I come out on the right side of the stitch. And you can see I'm going through the pine needles. Some of the stitches we will be doing will be thread only. This one doesn't have to be. I'm going to go to the next stitch to the left, back to front, left to right. Make your stitches nice and tight, and you can see that's going under that stitch. It's crossing under that stitch. Now we can see the spiral shape begin. Now that I have a few stitches in, I'll start adding more pine needles again, about every other stitch, maybe every 3rd stitch, holding it close to the end, parting these pine needles and sliding it in there. I'm going in the next stitch to the left, back to front, left to right. Keep your stitches nice and tight. I'm going to pull it snug, pull it across the top of the disc, wrap over the top, and you can see that spiral beginning. Back to front, left to right, and you can see the needle here crosses under that stitch. I'll pull this nice and snug, and then wrap it over the top again. I'm going to put my stitch clip on, and I'm going to stitch around until I'm ready to start row 3. and then I'll come back and we'll continue on from there. Okay, see ya.